Arabesque, often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Dre Broadcasting Network as we go back side by side with the Roaring Thunder. Tonight, this is a race 15 of 16. That's the race before the championship. So next week is the season finale, and we get to crown a champion. Well, tonight we are racing at Watkins Glen for the Roaring Thunder Racing League Indy at the Glen, round 15 of 16. I'm your commentator, Sean Zulu, and up here in the booth with me is David Everly. How are you doing tonight, Dave?
Doing pretty good, Sean.
Well, here tonight, Watkins Glen, and ladies and gentlemen, Dave is not feeling 100% today. He's most, you could probably rate him at 10% of 100. So let's, keep him in our thoughts so he can get well soon. But here tonight, 30 laps at a 3.37 mile length track, Watkins Glen. But before we talk about tonight's race, let's take a recap from last week's race, the Gateway Indy 156. That's the Gateway Indy 156 at Gateway Oval. In that race, we had Jeremy Horn bring it home for his second win of the season, and Jeremy Horn is the defending champion. Jim Whaley Jr. came out second, Noah Lewis third, Poe Cohen fourth, Charles Smith fifth, Simon Thorns 6th, Robert Barras 7th, Mark Kochik 8th, Keaton Bummersbach 9th, Jeff Dotson 10th, Ronald Vincent 11th, and Rolf Just came out 12th, rounding up the whole entire field. And in that race, turn 2 was quite the killer. It claimed a lot of drivers, and that's pretty much where we had every single caution basically happened on the exit of turn 2. That's how bad the turn was, or the handling with the turn versus the machine. Well, here going on to the point standings, Robert Barras is still leading in points. Barras has 11 of 14 wins this season. Jeremy Horn second, and Jeremy Horn is 262 points. That's 262 points behind Robert Barras. So Charles Smith third, Jim Whaley Jr. fourth, Mark Kochik 5th, Jeff Dotson 6th, Mark McFadden 7th, Ronald Vincent 8th, Stephen Leffler 9th, Keaton Bombers back 10th. Actually, Keaton Bombers back 10th place, tied with Paul Cohen. So Paul Cohen, Bombers back, tied for 10th place. Noah Lewis 11th. Simon Thorns 12th. Rolf Just 13th. Shane Gross 14th. Art Peck 16th. Corey Silva 16th. We have Kyle Nadu 17th. John Morgan 18th. Caleb Thompson 19th. And Evan Black rounding up the top 20. Well, going to tonight's race here at Watkins Glen, it's going to be a heck of a race. And the drivers tonight dealing with 106 degree Fahrenheit track temp, that is 106 degrees Fahrenheit track temp, partly cloudy with an air temperature of 78 degrees Fahrenheit, winds from the north at 2 miles per hour. And as usual, the drivers have a 75% fuel limit, that is 75%. Giving us at least one required pit stop in order for them to be able to make it the full length of the way, 30 laps tonight. And looking there in the chat, we have Chris Potter. Chris Potter, welcome back, buddy. Chris Potter, the crew chief of the 98 of Noah Lewis, one of the drivers. I heard in practice there, Noah Lewis was having some connection problems, but seems like he is in the server so far, and everything has settled down for the better, and that is amazing to see. Well, tonight, 12 turns for the drivers to tackle, and 3.37 miles in length the track is. So it's going to be very interesting for 30 laps once we go green flag racing. So far, qualifying just now ended, and our post sitter is the 88 of Keaton Bommersbach, but the fastest driver in practice was the points leader, 75 of Robert Barras. Well, with Barras having a 262 points lead, that might mean he probably has this thing down. Basically, yeah, you know, that's a lot of points to be made up by second place and third place drivers, Charles Smith and the 14 of Jeremy Horn, who unfortunately is not racing tonight. He talked about it in last week's interview. He wasn't going to be racing tonight. He has a date with his son, going to watch a movie. But we look forward to seeing him back again at Sonoma Raceway. So this is a Sunday drive for Robert Barras. He just has to worry about finishing the race. Well, here before too long, qualifying will be ending. Absolutely there, Chris. I am doing well, and thanks for asking. And here in tonight's race, we have a total of 13 drivers starting this race, with Bommersbach once again still being the post sitter, and Paul Cohen being the last driver qualifying in the 11th place position. And looking here at the, well, it looks like we're almost done qualifying, so 14 seconds left before we're officially done. Well, looks like gridding has now begun, so only a few seconds before we go down the list. Well, ladies and gentlemen, 88 of Keaton Bommersbach. Here is the post sitter, and starting on his left is the points leader, 75 of Robert Barras, 57 of Simon Thorne, starting third, 41 of Shane Gross. We've missed Shane Gross, but he is back here tonight, starting in the fourth place spot. 33 of Mark Kochik, fifth. 13 of Charles Smith, 6th. 72, that's 72 of Stephen Leffler, 7th. Mark McFadden, 8th. Ronald Vincent, 9th. Noah Lewis, 10th. Paul Cohen, 11th. Jim Whaley Jr., 12th. And the 8-0 of John Estates in the 13th place spot, giving us 13 drivers starting tonight's race. And I talked about it there in the beginning. Robert Barras winning 11 of 14 races complete so far this season. That means he has not missed a single race all season long. And the other drivers taking the other 3 wins. We had 14 of Jeremy Horn did win last week's race in one of the races prior to that. And I believe that was Mid-Ohio Motorsports Park. Yep, so Jeremy Horn has 2 wins under his belt. And then the 88 of Keaton Bummersback as well, way back in the, about midway in the season, he did win a race and broke the streak of Barras, well, the winning streak of Barras. So far, once again, 2 wins by the 14 of Jeremy Horn, 1 win by Keaton Bummersback, and 11 wins by Robert Barras. Let's see who wins tonight's race. Well, we are now rolling here behind the pace car. Everybody left and right. The leader up front, Bummersback, starts on the right side with the odd numbers. That's first place, 3rd place, 5th place, 7th place, 9th place, on down to 13th place. Then the left side is the even numbers, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 to 12th. So odd numbers on the right side, even numbers on the left side. We are going green, 12 turns by the drivers. And once we go green, I will be naming these turns as we go, just to familiarize the you guys out there in the chat, the viewers, with all these turns that these drivers will be dealing with. And ladies and gentlemen, this is race 15 of 16, which means only 1 more race after this race for the season to end. At the same time, for a new champion to be crowned. So with that said, the sign-ups are opening. Basically, the Roaring Thunder Racing League is taking drivers. So for those who would like to be a part of the action next season, last season they did Pro Can-Am Series. This season, IndyCar Series. We're not sure what they're going to do next season, but we look forward to talking to the 3 of Jeff Dotson, maybe tonight or next week's race at Sonoma Raceway, just to give you guys a preview of what's to come next season. So check them out at their website, americantracker8.wixsite.com/RTRL. That's American Tracker, the number 8.wixsite.com/RTRL. Or simply just go to iRacing under the leagues page and search for Roaring Thunder Racing League, and you will find them. So Roaring Thunder Racing League on iRacing, and American Tracker 8.wixsite.com/RTRL is the website. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the boot. This is the boot configuration of the Watkins Glen International track. With that said, it's got way more turns than the Cup version of the track. So these drivers have to go through the chute, the toe, the boot. Once again, I will familiarize you guys with the turn numbers and most likely the names as well as we go. Well, entering the final turn, turn number 12, going green this time around, being led by the 88 of Keaton Bummersback on the right side behind the pace car off the exit of turn number 12. Pace car dips off. The green flag is out, and a drag race up front between Bummersback and Barras. But looks like Bummersback is going to get a better start than Barras did. Entering turn, they just back it down so far, taking it easy. And they go back single file, first and second place drivers. Bummersback, Barras, Simon Thorne still third, Shane Gross fourth, and Mark Kochik. Oh, actually, Mark Kochik has lost a lot of spots. Looks like race control has thrown the caution. So we had some trouble on the track, looks like. Yes, we did have trouble on the track. A lot of drivers flipping in turn 1. It started with the 21? Nope, that was the 72 of Steven Leffler with the 33 of Mark Kochik.
See if we can go back on the replay, see exactly what happened on this start here as they were coming down into turn 1. Oh, looks like some contact there, but ooh, as you said, Steven Leffler up on his roof.
Oh man, yeah, that's a very rough start for the drivers involved in that. Looks like it was just a difference in braking points and some three-wide action too behind. Oh man, and drivers involved: Mark Kochik, talked about Steven Leffler, Mark McFadden, the 3 Jeff Dotson, Jim Whaley, including the I see a Red Bull machine. Is that a Red Bull machine? I believe that is a Red Bull. No, that's 37 of Ronald Vincent. So a lot of drivers involved in that one. Turn 1, lap 1. Man, oh man, you know, they do say you can definitely, you cannot win a race in turn 1 on lap 1, but you can lose the race in turn 1 on lap 1. But not to worry, ladies and gentlemen, these drivers do have one backup car, one quick fix, one fast repair. So they'll be able to go down pit road, get brand new machines, and be back on the track. Oh, and a word by the from the crew chief of the 98 of Noah Lewis, Chris Potter, in the chat. He has some intel saying the Roaring Thunder next season is planning on running the prototypes. That's the prototypes next season. So yeah, we look forward to hearing about that from the 3 of Jeff Dotson, the owner of the league. Oh, and I said Jeff Dotson was racing tonight, but nope, he is not racing here tonight. We do look forward to seeing him back again next week at Sonoma. And the top 5 drivers stay the same. We have Keaton Bombers back in the lead. Robert Barras 2nd, Simon Thorns 3rd, Shane Gross 4th, Charles Smith 5th, Paul Cohen 6th, Noah Lewis 7th, John Estates 8th, Ronald Vincent 9th, Mark McFadden 10th, Mark Kochik 11th, Jim Whaley Jr. 12th, and Steven Leffler in the 13th place spot. And so far, some position changes. We have 2 new drivers in the top 10, namely Paul Cohen from 11th place to 6th, and John Estes from 13th place to 8th. And we have Noah Lewis moving up 3 spots from 10th place to 7th place, with Charles Smith going from 6th place to 5th place, moving up 1 spot into the top 5. And a status check on the 72 of Steven Leffler, who took some serious flight. He is on pit road as we speak. Actually looks like his machine is getting towed down to pit road. It is beat up in every single way you can possibly imagine. But he'll be back on the track before too long, because once again, the one backup track is coming in handy. Well, we should be coming to the 1 to green this time around. Yes, we are 1 to green, same exact lineup, and a new viewer in the chat. That is John Marine. Welcome back, John Marine. Has been too long. Oh, it seems like it. You know, it's been like a long time. Not quite, but you know, it feels like it. Hope you're doing well, man. Hope you're doing well. It's good to see you. Well, we are one to greet and some bad news. Steven Leffler still on pit road as we speak. Oh man, hopefully he's able to get back out there before the green flag flies. Because if he gets overtaken one more time, he will be going an additional lap down to be put down to 2 laps down. Because at the moment he is 1 lap down. Yes, he gets a brand new machine as we spoke right there. And he should be rolling. Yes, Steven Leffler rolling off pit road as we speak. And the bad thing about Steven Leffler's situation, having no cautions, well, no full course cautions basically, to get his lap back, you have to get around the leaders manually. So hopefully he's able to do that. But the race is still very young, ladies and gentlemen. 30-lap race, but so far 28 laps to go with 3 laps complete. Oh, absolutely there, John. Yeah, it's an amazing track, man. It's my one of my personal favorites. It's very fun. Hey everybody, so far getting bunched up nice and tight here, single file, ready to go, green flag racing. With you know, still a long way to go and at least 1 pit stop required for the drivers. 75% fuel limit. Well, approaching turn number 11 for the final turn. We are going green. Exiting turn 12, going green this time around. Pace car dipping off. Yes, the pace car dips off. The green flag is out. Bummer's back finds the gas pedal, but Berasoy coming in time to challenge him. Well, it looks like the shifting difference is going to keep them stabilized here. So for stalemate, entering turn 1, they all go back down single file on the exit of turn 1, approaching the S's as we speak. Well, these are the S's, ladies and gentlemen, and specifically turn numbers, turns 2, 3, and 4. The bus stop is turn number 5. And Bummer's back up front, leaves the bus stop, and is now coming up to the right-hander, exits nice and strong to turn 7. This is called the chute. And that's chute, C-H-U-T-E. And the next turn is quite the right oval, known as the toe. And he exits the toe here as we speak, and now his next turn is turn number 9. He gets some of that sand, and now approaching turn number 10. And turn number 11 here, exits by the rumble strips, and now turn 12, the final turn. So 12 turns in total, ladies and gentlemen. This turn, so turn number 1 is the 90. It's like a 90 degree turn. Then the S's turns 2, 3, and 4. It's got the back switch after that. That's the back straight. The back stop is turn 5. The inner loop is the right oval, like turn. Then turn number 7 is the chute. Turn 8 is the toe. Then we have the boot between turns number 8 and 9. And then we just have turn number 10, 11, and 12 unnamed. Well, we have Mark Kochik here so far trying to hold off the 37 Ronald Vincent. They are riding here. Ronald Vincent in the 10th place spot. Mark Kochik. Actually, that just got confusing for a second. Looks like Mark Kochik actually lost some spots. He's now being shown about 3 spots back in the 9th place spot behind the 51 of Paul Cohen. And Paul Cohen stays right to let Mark Kochik by. And they do exit nice and strong on the right-hander, the boot. Paul Cohen so far seems to be letting everybody by, just trying to take it easy, trying to buy his time, and now he's being shown behind. Oh, Charles Smith in the grass, he gets sucked into the wall. Oh, he's riding the wall as we speak. He's back on the racing surface, and the machine's rotation is messed up. The machine is not doing well. Oh man, Charles Smith is now in the gravel, in the sand, and as we speak, trying to go down a pit road to get the backup car. Yep, Charles Smith here going sideways down to pit road as we speak. He makes it. That's very unfortunate for him because he was running in the top 5. And now all positions lost. All time has been lost. Oh, man. And Jim Whaley Jr. as well, just leaving pit road as we speak. John Estates being shown 10th, Paul Cohen 9th, Noah Lewis 8th, Ronald Vincent 7th, Mark Kochik 6th, Mark McFadden 5th, and that's Mark McFadden's first appearance in the top 5 from 8th place. Shane Gross 4th, Simon Thorns 3rd, Robert Barras 2nd, and Keaton Bummersbach still in the race lead. And the field is getting nothing but spread out with every single lap, ladies and gentlemen. So the gap between the two drivers up front, Bummersbach and Barras, first and second place drivers respectively, is now 3.2 seconds. Well, it was 3.2 seconds the last time they crossed the start-finish line to begin lap number 7. But it does end up changing as the race goes on. Well, basically as these drivers approach different turns. So we have to just always keep updating it once they cross the start-finish line to be more accurate. And the gap between 3rd and 4th place drivers Simon Thorns and Shane Gross is 2.0 seconds flat. That is 2 seconds flat. And at this point, the top 4 drivers are less than 7 seconds apart. Wow, it goes from 1st place, well, the gap between 1st place through 5th place is 20 seconds. And then it goes all the way up from there. For the back in the pack, 98 of Noah Lewis here so far, trying to hold off the 72 of Steven Leffler, but no harm done. Leffler still being shown 1 lap down. 98 of Lewis is on the lead lap in the 7th place spot behind his next victim, the 37 of Ronald Vincent, and Noah Lewis is being shown about 4 seconds behind Ronald Vincent, so he does have quite a bit of work to do to catch up to him. In turn, Ronald Vincent is 2 seconds behind the 5th place driver, Mark Kochik. So at this point, Kochik is holding the keys and the door to the top 5, and Ron Vincent wants a piece of the action. .33 of Mark Kochik on pit road as we speak. So we had, we've had 4 drivers pit in. Well, make that 5. No, still 4 drivers. So Mark Kochik, Mark McFadden, Jim Whaley, and Charles Smith have already all gone down pit road in the last 3 laps. Something tells me this is too early for green flag pit stops, but once again, the race is still young. 8 laps in. And at this point, we do have 23 laps left, but we've lost 1 driver. Unfortunately, the 48 or the 46 of Jim Whaley Jr. retiring early for the evening, unfortunately. And the lead of the leader up front, Bomber's back is getting nothing but bigger. Oh man, Noah Lewis goes sideways off the exit of turn number 10, but no harm done. He is still rolling straight and was able to still stay ahead of 72 of Steven Leffler. But going back to Keaton Bomber's back up front, he is now 5 seconds ahead of second place driver 75 of Robert Barras. So his lead is getting nothing but bigger. And now the gap between the second and third place drivers, Barras and Simon Thorns, is now about 3 seconds. And for the back in the pack, the 8-0 of John Estates currently running in the 8th place position. And his next opponent so far is the 48 of Mark McFadden in the 9th place spot, about 7 seconds behind him. John Estates. At the same time, John Estates' next victim for position is the 51 of Poe Cohen, who's about roughly 13 seconds ahead of him. So John Estates has a lot of work to do, similar to the job that Mark McFadden has to do against John Estates for that 8th place spot. And 13 of Charles Smith, a status check. Charles Smith got a brand new machine, is back on the racing surface, was able to stay on the lead lap. But last I checked, he's about 6 seconds ahead of the race leaders. That is 6 seconds ahead of the race leaders. Basically, that means he is 1.25 seconds, 1 minute 25 seconds behind the race leaders. So just 6 more seconds, and he might be going a lap down if they catch him. And we have Shane Gross as well on pit road as we speak. Yep, Shane Gross on pit road. Mark Kochik just left pit road. I'm not sure what happened to Mark Kochik, but he's been on pit road twice in the last 3-4 laps. So it looks like maybe during his first round of pit stops, or his first green flag pit stop early on, he might have ended up speeding and had to serve a penalty because he was on pit road just then for about 20 seconds. But Shane Gross on pit road as we speak, still going on to now about 90 seconds. That's 90 seconds spent on pit road and increasing. Actually, Shane Gross is now just rolling off pit road, so I'm not sure what happened to him. Yeah, Shane Gross might have been having some difficulties that we're not knowing about, but he is back on the racing surface now, just giving us 9 drivers left on the lead lap. Shane Gross, first driver 1 lap down, Mark Kochik, second driver 1 lap down, and Steven Leffler, third driver 1 lap down. That is 10th place through 12th place, respectively. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, slow in, fast out. Too fast in, you might not be able to make it out, which means too much speed through the turns. You will end up, your machine will not be able to rotate. And going on to with what John Marine is talking about there in the chat, he says the bus stop chicane is one of the trickiest parts of the track. And that's absolutely right, man, because, you are floorboard deep. You have your foot down the floorboard from the S's through the bus stop from turn number 4 to turn number 5, which means you are at maximum speed. So the bus stop is a heavy braking zone, which means it becomes very tricky because you have to be at the right speed to be able to take it without going off the track. And the tire barriers are more than happy to welcome you. But up front, Keaton Bummersbach is now being shown 7 seconds ahead of second place driver Robert Barras. We have Simon Thorne still third. Ronald Vincent has moved up to 4th place. Noah Lewis 5th. Paul Cohen 6th. Mark McFadden 7th. John Estates 8th. We have Charles Smith 9th. Shane Gross 10th. Stephen Leffler 11th. And Mark Kochik in the 12th place spot. Oh, we have a new viewer in the chat. That is Hal Amy. Hal Amy, man, welcome back. It is great to see you, man. Hope you're doing well tonight. Yeah, just racing some Indy cars here at Watkins Glen with the Roaring Thunder Racing League. So far, the closest drivers we have would include Paul Cohen and Mark McFadden. They are 6th and 7th, and the gap is about 5 seconds apart. Well, they are 5 seconds apart, but at the same time, they do not have eyes on each other. But they are the closest here. Now we only have 7 drivers left on the lead lap. Charles Smith, first driver, 1 lap down. Robert Barras going down pit road. Yes, Barras on pit road as we speak. So green flag pit stops here taking place. Ronald Vincent as well going down pit road this time around. And Barras already left pit road. And looking at Barras's pit stop, it was 6.1 seconds. That's 6.1 seconds. The fastest pit stop we've seen so far in tonight's race. Well, for the first round of pit stops. And Ron Vincent still on pit road. The other drivers who pitted in, Mark McFadden had a 6.7 second pit stop. Charles Smith, 6.6 second pit stop. So those are the 2 competing pit stops, or pit times, compared to Barras. And up front, the leader, Keaton Bummersbach as well, going down pit road this time around. And Keaton Bummersbach pits in with 13 laps completed on his tires, or complete on his tires, while Barras pitted in with 12 laps complete on his tires. It makes me wonder exactly. Well, it looks like if they were running the tanks dry, which not the case, because Simon Thorns is still going nice and strong. His 14th lap on tires. So far we have only 4 drivers needing to pit in. Simon Thorns, Noah Lewis, Paul Cohen, John Estates, including Stephen Leffler. But everybody else has pitted in. And the updated top 5 this time, keeping Bombers back still being shown the race leader. If Simon Thorne stays out this time around, he should take over the race lead officially. So Simon Thorne's second for now, Barras third, Ronald Vincent fourth, and Mark McFadden in the 5th place spot. We have Noah Lewis and Paul Coyne on pit road as we speak. And up front, Simon Thorne's exiting turn 12, the final turn. Is it pitting in? Yes, Simon Thorne's going down pit road with 14 laps complete on his tires and tank. And Bombers back overtakes Simon Thorne's as he was before he enters his pit stall. So most likely a lot of time will be lost by Simon Thorne's in the process. Yeah, so for the drivers on the lead lap, the most we saw was Simon Thorne's go 14 laps on his tires and tank. Something tells me, ladies and gentlemen, he ran his tank dry, which means these guys will have to come down at one more time for splash and go. Take maybe, I don't know, maybe 0.5 of a gallon or something to be able to make it just for 1 or 2 laps, or maybe even 5 laps at most for some of those drivers out there. So expect to see at least one more quick pit stop for the drivers. Well, ladies and gentlemen, taking our first commercial break of the evening this time around. We'll be right back, so please stay tuned. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Roaring Thunder Racing League Indy at the Glen. This is race 15 of 16. The race before the championship. Or the race before the race of the championship. So, ladies and gentlemen, tuck your seatbelts in. It's going to be a bumpy ride. And we just had an incident with Simon Thorns. He lost it exiting turn number 10. He went into the grass and spun out, hit the wall, and lost his front wing. But as we speak, Simon Thorns is now rolling off pit road with a brand new machine. But all the time he gained during the pit stops has now been lost. But ladies and gentlemen, since this is a race of 15 of 16, that means season is coming to an end. So you guys can join the series if you guys like next season. So check out their website, americantracker8.wixsite.com/RTRL. That's the website, americantracker8.wixsite.com. That's americantracker8.wixsite.com/RTRL. Just check them out on iRacing at Roaring Thunder Racing League under the leagues tab. Well, going back to the race, those green flag pit stops came and went, and the drivers need at least one more pit stop, a splash and go, to be able to make it the rest of the way. And the splash and go is taking place as we speak. So Robert Barras just pitted in. Actually, still on pit road. Noah Luce as well was on pit road this time around. Both drivers for their final pit stops of the evening. And when it came to the first pit stops, we saw Simon Thorns go the longest on his tires, once again 14 laps. And keep in mind, that was him running the tank dry. At the same time, we had 2 laps under caution, so which means he most likely was able to save at least 1 to 1.5 laps of gas under the caution. So that's the reason he was able to go that much longer than everybody else. Once the green flag pit stops kicked in, and we have Mark Kochik now going down pit road and looking at Bummersbach's the leader up front. His first pit time, it was 7.5 seconds, 1.4 seconds slower than second place driver Robert Barras. And this time Robert Barras was able to beat his first pit time by 0.1 of a second. Last time he had a 6.1 second pit stop, but now it was 6 seconds flat. And ladies and gentlemen, 10 laps to go. That is 10 laps to go in tonight's race. It has been go time because of the green flag pit stops and the very spread out field. We have 4 drivers so far being shown on the lead lap. Only 4 drivers. But keep in mind that Keaton Bummersbach, Ronald Vincent still need to pit in order to be able to make it the rest of the way for the final 10 laps. So far, drivers needing to pit in still. Keaton Bummersbach, Ronald Vincent. We have Shane Gross, Paul Cohen, and Stephen Leffler, including John Estates. These drivers still need to pit in one more time in order to be able to make it. But one of those drivers is going down pit road this time around. 41 of Shane Gross pitting in. Yeah, we always talk about how Robert Barras has always been good at green flag pit stops, always has the fastest pit stop every time. And so far here in tonight's race, seems like nobody's beating him just yet. And the second driver next to him when it comes to pit times, actually Shane Gross. Shane Gross just spent 4.3 seconds on pit road. That was 4.3 seconds spent on pit road by Shane Gross, meaning only gas and no tires at all compared to Barras, who took 4 tires with a full tank of gas. Very impressive. With the way these machines handle, the tires do wear quite well. So with that said, Shane Gross should not be at a disadvantage. Fingers crossed. Hopefully, I am right. We are right. We're gonna find out before too long. Well, up front, Keaton Bummersbach is now catching up to some lapped traffic. His next victim here is 72 of Steven Leffler. Steven Leffler already one lap down. He has been ever since lap number 1, turn number 1. He got a piece of the action, but now is trying to stay one lap down to avoid going an additional lap down, to be put down to 2 laps down. And at this point, man, it's a lot of pressure on the hands of Steven Leffler as Keaton Bummersbach's gap is getting nothing but shorter, or the gap between him and Steven Leffler as they both approach the turn number 7. Steven Leffler stays right, and Bummersbach gets right up on the left side. And that puts Steven Leffler 2 laps down, unfortunately, as now Bummersbach approaches turn number 10. And so far now, only 3 drivers need to pit in. Well, make that 4. Keaton Bummersbach, Ronald Vincent, Paul Cohen, including Steven Leffler. These 4 drivers still need their pit stops. And the closest drivers we have so far for position would include 13 of Charles Smith and 41 of Shane Gross. Here, Shane Gross is 7th place, Charles Smith 6th. And Shane Gross has Charles Smith in his sights. At the same time, the next victim for Charles Smith is 48 of Mark McFadden, who was less than a second ahead of him during the last time they crossed the start-finish line. But that did seem to have changed. Actually, no, but it is still the same, so they are very, very close apart while they have each other in sight. For the back in the pack, the 98 of Noah Lewis here trying to apply pressure to the 98 with the 51 of Paul Cohen. And Paul Cohen is for position. Paul Cohen in the 8th place spot, Noah Lewis in the 9th place spot. Both drivers 1 lap down, and Ronald Vincent going down pit road this time around for his final pit stop. And also the leader up front, Bummersbach, pitting in this time around. So Paul Cohen, Steven Leffler, and John Estates still need to pit in, and now 6 laps to go. Well, the leader up front, Bummersbach, is now leaving pit road, and he actually had a faster pit stop, pit time, and pit stop compared to Robert Barras by 0.1 seconds. Keaton Bummersbach had 5.9 second pit stop, and Barras 6.0 flat. Very, very impressive. But Shane Gross, once again, 4.3 seconds. So this time Shane Gross won had the fastest pit time, taking no tires at all. And going back to Shane Gross. Shane Gross is really driving the wheels off that machine, trying to get around 13 of Charles Smith, but the gap here seems to be consistent. Well, in some turns, Charles Smith is faster, but then in other turns, Shane Gross is faster. So basically, it all comes down to a stalemate between the two drivers once they cross the start-finish line every single lap. But so far, they do still have each other in sight. And at this point, the most pressure is on 13 of Charles Smith, because he knows any mistake he makes, Shane Gross is going to benefit from it greatly. And after the second and final round of pit stops, the leaders up front, well, Keaton Bummersbach has now, whoa, that just went up from, well, Barras was 58 seconds behind Bummersbach. A couple of laps back, it went down to 44 seconds, but now they are 32 seconds apart as of last lap. So the lead of Bummersbach is getting nothing but smaller. So it's going to be interesting. Well, you know, 32 seconds is a very long time, and then 5 laps to go. Not looking too good for Barras against Bummersbach. So if Bummersbach keeps doing exactly what he's doing so far and just holds his own, he should be able to win this thing. And Paul Cohen going down pit road this time around for his final pit stop of the evening. Well, 4 laps to go, 4 laps to go this time around, and Bummersbach so far has his eyes on the prize, a prize 37 of Ronald Vincent. And Keaton Bummersbach has led every single lap this far, ladies and gentlemen. 27 laps in, all led by Keaton Bummersbach. And Bummersbach keeps putting everybody a lap down. And his next victim, once again, is Ronald Vincent. Ronald Vincent is in 4th place. So if Ron Vincent goes a lap down, that's going to leave only 3 drivers on the lead lap. And as of last lap, the gap between Bummersbach and Barras got increased by 2 seconds, from 32 seconds to 34 seconds. And so far, it seems to be stabilizing and increasing once again because of the different turns these drivers are approaching at the gaps they are apart. And now the drivers, 3rd and 4th place drivers, Simon Thorns and Ronald Vincent, are being shown about 5 seconds apart, oh, 20 seconds apart, sorry. That is 3rd and 4th place drivers. And Keaton Bummersbach had a bad race last week at Gateway, but tonight is the fastest. He's got one of the fastest machines and has led every single lap so far. Now putting Ron Vincent 1 lap down. Yes, Vincent just went 1 lap down right there. This leaves us with only 3 drivers on the lead lap, and we've lost 1 more driver, unfortunately, 41 of Shane Gross. And scanning the gap of the two drivers, Barris and Bummersbach is now 35 seconds. That's 35 seconds. So Barris knows he pretty much has this thing locked. The championship, that is. Because once again, starting tonight's race, second place was 262 points behind him. At the same time, the second place driver, 14 of Jeremy Horn, defending champion, is not racing tonight. So that gap is going to get nothing but bigger by next week. So a Sunday drive by Robert Barris for the championship. And that just goes to show, ladies and gentlemen, how when you work so hard all season long, winning 11 of the 14 races complete, that makes it a lot easier. You basically don't have to work as hard or as much when it comes to the closing stages of the season. In this case, Barris has he pretty much can relax, sit back, and still get that crown. And this is the 2 lap to go mark. 2 laps to go in tonight's race. Well, 13 of Charles Smith is catching up, 51 of Poe Cohen, but no harm done. Cohen is 2 laps down. Charles Smith 1 lap down, but Mark Kochik as well is actually 2 laps down as well, but behind 13 of Charles Smith. And ladies and gentlemen, the white flag this time around, and Bummersbach exiting turn number 1 as we speak, approaching the S's for the final time. And a driver in the grass off turn number 10, that is Poe Cohen. He is back still rolling as we speak. Great save by Poe Cohen, but Bummersbach here so far, exiting the S's, exiting the bus stop, now coming to the outer loop, the right oval-like turn, and approaching the chute, which is turn 7. And the gap between Bummersbach and Barris has gone out to 37 seconds. So Bummersbach has a Sunday drive so far to the finish. Enjoying all that clean air, no pressure whatsoever. Gonna bring this thing home. And Bummersbach approaching turn number 10, this time around one of the dangerous turns here on this configuration. Approaching turn 11 as we speak. For the final time, ladies and gentlemen, turn 12 approached and complete by 12 of Bummersbach powers off of it and brings this thing home for his second win of the season right here at Watkins Glen International. Second place driver Barris is still racing as we speak, approaching turn number 8. And off turn, Barris goes around a lapped car. That was Mark Kochik. And turn number 11 now being approached, and Barris coming out the final turn as we speak. Gonna bring this thing out in the second place spot behind Keaton Bummersbach. Heck of a race. And now Simon Thorns, the last driver on the lead lap in the third place spot. Turn number 9 as we speak. Oh, the field was spread out all race long. Excellent race by the drivers tonight. And Simon Thorns off turn number 11 and turn 12 being approached for the final time by Simon Thorns. Brings this thing, brings his car home in third place. Still the podium. So top 3 drivers, Bummersbach, Barris, and Simon Thorns. Well, interviews coming up, so please stay tuned. Well, we are being joined by the top three drivers, Bummers back, Barras and Simon Thorns up here in the Dre broadcasting booth. Head off turn number 12. Keaton Bummers back. He's going to cross the start finish line for his victory lap and completes that. So most likely going to see a smoke show.
You know it.
You can call that a donut and a half. Very perfect, man. Heck of a smoke show. Bringing that thing home tonight for your second win of the season after having some bad luck last week at Gateway Motorsports Park. But how are you doing tonight, Keaton?
I'm doing great. I'm really happy with this one.
Oh, I can imagine, man. It's a turn of events, and you led every single lap tonight, leading all 30 laps. But how was your experience tonight, man?
It was fun. The car was really nice and stable. The setup was good, and I just push for every single lap. And I'm just, I'm happy to get one back after, last week I felt kind of slighted. I'm not gonna lie. I was a little annoyed with that, but come back this week and get the victory. I'm quite pleased.
Oh, absolutely, man. Yeah, it's been nice. It was nice watching you turn that around. A heck of a transition from last week to this week, and giving you your second win of the season. Very, very impressive. And Keaton, man, we're going to the final race of the season next week at Sonoma Raceway, final track and final race. What are your expectations for Sonoma Raceway?
I want to go and beat the pants off everybody just like I did this week. I think I can be in victory lane again next week. I'm always strong on the road courses. I showed up to all but one so far, and this is my second win on the road courses of the 4 I've shown up to, and I beat myself in the other 2. So I think, provided I don't make a stupid mistake, I could find myself running up front again next week.
Oh, 10-4, man. We look forward to seeing that. And you've had quite the season, man. 2 wins, 5 top 5s, and now 7 top 10s. Very, very impressive. We look forward to seeing you have your 3rd win. That's going to be quite the way to end the season. But before you go celebrate, any final words?
I just want to thank Jeff and Gomez and everybody who puts on the league. It's always fun to come out here. I want to thank you guys for the broadcast. You do a good job, and yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Well, buddies, we are happy to see you here in tonight's race after your appearance last week. Look forward to seeing you again with the exact same performance next week at Sonoma. Go celebrate. You earned it.
Thank you.
That was Keaton Bummers back, tonight's winner for his 2nd win. But next in line is the points leader, Robert Barras, soon to be champion. Get up there, Robert.
I got you.
How you doing tonight?
Not too bad. Not too bad at all. I'm glad to get that. Those 30 laps down. We got 42 more to go to close out the season and get our championship trophy there officially. So, yeah, it was a good night. Pretty clean for the most part. Had a little bobble there, and the pit entrance there is a little narrow, and it's hard to do a 3-point turn or 5-point. I think it ended up being like a 50-point turn. Just trying to find the right gear to get the car backed up and whatnot. So gotta get that cleaned up. Other than that, it was good, fun race.
Oh, absolutely, man. Yeah, it was amazing watching you race, man. In the beginning, you tried to, just battle Keaton Bummers back. But then those green flag pit stops definitely separated you guys. And also last week at Gateway, you did not have the race that you had hoped for. But tonight has been way better. And Barras, we noticed one thing, even though you know in the back of your mind that you have this trophy in your hands already, you still decided to bring your A game. And what are your plans for next week's race, Sonoma?
It's kind of the same thing as tonight. Just show up. We got to get the 42 laps through. It'd be nice to finish all the laps. bring home a clean car to celebrate with. I didn't really have anything for Caton tonight. He had probably 3 to 4 tenths, really on everybody, and so there really wasn't any catching him. I'm really used to this place in a stock car, and you kind of got to drive it a little bit differently in this cars because they're heavier and they don't have as good brakes, and they don't really ever run the boot, and that thing's kind of like, it's really different than the NASCAR side of the track. I think Sonoma, the layout's also a little bit different. I think they run kind of the old school layout that the Cup cars ran. So we're probably need to go get a little bit of practice there just to make sure we can be respectable and get all the laps in. And like I said, bring home a clean car to celebrate with at the end of the race.
Oh, absolutely, man, and you definitely did an amazing job tonight. Having to tell your mind and tell yourself, remind yourself in this case, that you are not driving a stock car, but an open-wheel Indy car. But very impressive. We look forward to seeing you next week at Sonoma. Go celebrate. You earned it.
Thank you.
And that was second place driver Robert Barras and points leader. But next in line is 57 of Simon Thorns. Good call up there, Simon.
Yeah.
How you doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm happy with the podium. I like the track. I'm pleased to get back on the podium.
Oh, most definitely, man. It was amazing watching you race all night long tonight. At one point, we noticed you made a mistake exiting turn number 10, a tongue twister. You actually ended up smacking the wall, lost your front wing, was able to crawl down a pit road, get a brand new machine, and still maintain the third place spot. What was going on through your mind when you realized you made such a fatal mistake?
Yeah, I could kick myself. I didn't have nothing for Caton, or trying to hang on to Robert as best I could. He was pulling away. I figured my only bet was to save fuel, see if I could make it a pit stop less, which I was doing. I was using a higher gear. I was just checking the fuel, and I made the mistake, hit the barrier.
Oh, most definitely, man. Well, we are glad that your mistake did not discourage you, but you were still able to maintain third place spot and finish in the podium. After last week, there we had a sudden turn of events on your part, where you ended up finishing in the 6th place spot, but it's still a heck of an appearance. Well, man, next week we are transferring to Sonoma Raceway. Do you have any experience at that track?
None whatsoever. So I'm going to say practice goes in the week. I don't hold out much hope for that at the moment.
Oh, 10-4, man. Well, with what we've seen so far when it comes to your machine, yourself, and the road courses, you should not have any trouble whatsoever. We look forward to seeing you 2 spots higher. Oh, before we'll go celebrate and get ready for next week, any final words?
No, I'd just like to thank Jeff and putting on the league and yourselves for broadcasting. It's a great privilege to be racing with these guys.
Well, congrats on your success tonight there, Simon, and see you again next week at Sonoma. Go celebrate.
Cheers, thank you.
And that was 57 of Simon Thorns. Rounding up the interviews, Keaton Bummer's back, Robert Barras and Simon Thorns, 1st through 3rd respectively. And we had Ronald Vincent, Mark McFadden, Charles Smith, Noah Lewis, Stephen Leffler, Mark Kochick, Paul Cohen, John Estates, Shane Gross, and Jim Whaley Jr., 4th through 13th place. Here in tonight's race at Watkins Glen for the Roaring Thunder Racing League Indy at the Glen, race 15 of 16. Well, next week we are once again traveling to Sonoma Raceway. That's Sonoma Raceway for the Roaring Thunder Racing League Indy Sonoma Grand Prix, race 16 of 16, also known as the championship race. So be sure to be there, ladies and gentlemen, where we're gonna crown a new champion at the end of that race. The next broadcast we have is tomorrow night, the Precision Racing League American iRacing Sunday Series at Texas Motor Speedway. And don't forget to check out the Roaring Thunder Racing League on iRacing to be a part of the action. I am Sean Zulu and David Everly behind the cameras, and see you again next race.